How are you? It's good to have you back.
Hey Nick. Man, it just kind of broke up there for a second.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay?
Did it do that? Okay, I'll
There,
jump into
like
it.
right when you were saying hello, there was like a like kind of a.
Of course
So,
there was. All right, everybody, welcome back. We are here again on the FwooshCast talking turtles with Mr. Trevor Zammit of NECA. Trevor, welcome back, my friend. Thanks for joining us again.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's good to be back.
Yeah, how have you been? From the looks of it, you've been pretty busy.
Yes, thankfully, just still staying busy. Turtles is still popular, so there's lots to do. Yeah, so there's lots to talk about, lots of cool stuff to show off, and yeah, work is still fun, still good.
Good. Getting to make turtles, that does sound like fun. But you guys,
what's better than that?
Yeah, a few weeks ago, you guys kind of had your virtual San Diego live stream or panel where you guys, I mean, you had a lot of turtle stuff that you guys showed off. So really, I'm hoping that we can just, talk a little bit more in depth about some of that stuff that you guys showed and, kind of see where we're headed, gosh, for the rest of the year, since the year's mostly over already.
We're already into August. Like where did the time go? That was like August already.
Well,
crazy.
Well, let's start then with, probably the biggest thing that you guys announced, and that was the San Diego exclusive for this year, which is the Catwoman from Channel 6 set. And when I talked to Randy a couple of weeks ago, we touched on this briefly, but I kind of wanted to get your perspective on this, because so much of that set seems to have, it's got these little like things that are totally, it's like you can look at it as like, man, that was Trevor was really going for it right there. So what made this the right set for the exclusive this year?
Oh yeah, we didn't want to just do another turtle set. It's sort of like been there, done that a few times. And then like another villain set, we've done that a few times too, and I think it was Randy's idea where he had suggested, like, what if, we get tons of requests for like, when are you going to do like, the full Channel 6 crew. We had, we put Vernon out already with Rat King. I think, Randy might've been a little surprised at just how well received that figure was. I was just like, dude, people want, Irma and, Burn, like people want those characters. And so when we did that Rat King and Vernon 2-pack originally, I think it had surprised some people in the office, and it was like, we should do like a full, like a proper Channel 6 set, and so I think Randy was like, just a 4-pack, that always works well for Comic-Con, and then just doing like the proper news crew, loading it up with like, the camera, the lights, like giving it like a full like a proper TV studio sort of package. It was like it just lent itself, the more we talked about it, kicked around ideas, it was just like, this has to be the exclusive for the year. So that's kind of how it came together, I guess.
Well, I mean, for better or for worse, I guess, depending on your opinion of things. I mean, the Channel 6 crew, they're a ubiquitous part of that cartoon.
They're essential characters. They're in every episode. There's so, and once we got into it, watching, it's like, holy smokes, there are so many things that just happen either in Channel 6 or around it. Like Krang and Shredder will, there's one episode where they put like booster rockets on the building, and it's like blasting the space. It's just like, it's like it's a focal point. Like, just, so much stuff just happens in the story, in the episodes, just about with Channel 6. So it was like, you can't have Turtle Collection without those just, human characters, like without Burn, Vernon, Irma, and there's no way my girlfriend was going to let me finish this toy line without doing like a proper Irma figure. Like, she's obsessed with Irma, and it was like, well, we've got to do an Irma figure. So
well, she's got a good point, because as essential as they've been, this is really the first time that we're getting, an accurately colored Irma, a Burn
Sure.
without toilet paper on his shoe,
Yeah, without like
Burning
a
without a
cheeseburger in his
camera.
hand.
Yeah.
There's a big slob like stains on his shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and that's another thing we like doing too, like with the Punk Frogs and with Granitor, throwing Pigeon Pete in there. It's like we love doing those characters that never had a toy before. So yeah, doing like a proper Irma, proper Burn, and then there's just so many different versions, like April being mutated. It's like having her as the Catwoman. That worked well for the exclusive too, because you got to tool some new parts. She has like different skin tones, so it's like coming out of her back, and so it's just like to do like a Catwoman figure on its own. That kind of, it all just came together in this set, so.
Well, it's a really fun set, and I gotta say, as you said, I really ended up liking the Vernon that came with the Rat King set so much more than I ever thought that I would like a figure of Vernon. But the new portrait on the exclusive one, that's dead perfect, man.
Oh yeah, and that's doing these characters like from the cartoon, they're so expressive. It's like you have to do a couple different head sculpts for these characters, because it's just, they're so, obviously they're just animated, but they're so lively, and they have like doing Vernon with the smug face originally, that was good because that fits some of his personality, but
he's like
doing
season
really
one
cowardly
Vernon.
like the freaked out, like worried Vernon, like you have to do that. And then there's little things that always like stand out to me on the show, where the inconsistencies with like they'll be painted one way, and then in a few other episodes they're a totally different color. So getting Vernon in like that kind of chalky bubblegum, like really light pink shirt, I wanted to do that, because half the time he looks like that, half the time he's like more vibrant. So and they there's the were rat part, so it doesn't hurt to have two Vernons, because you can have one as the were rat and then just display the other one in the freaked out looking. You keep them on opposite sides of the street diorama or something.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing that stuck out to me was like, we got what I consider to be season one Vernon with the Rat King, the more smug one that you talked about, and then kind of the more doofy Vernon.
With he kind of grows into that, like that real cowardly kind of persona. So
well, it's a really fun set, and the way that you guys presented it, with the box and having the poster that comes with it too, is really cool. And I gotta say, I've heard a lot of people talk about how appreciative they were with the ability to order the set. So everything with it, I think, went very, very smoothly as far as that goes.
That's great to hear. I mean, I definitely want to get like more pre-orders and getting online sales, just getting the stuff out to people like easier, and less hassles, less headaches. That's that's great. That's kind of what we need to do, because life is stressful enough. Just you want to be able to just buy some toys, not worry about it, just have them show up like whenever. So that's good. So,
and this is going to be shipping fourth quarter-ish in the year, right?
Something like, it's in, they're well into production now at the factory. So like just the way with how things have been like leaving, the factories and taking their time. So it'll probably be like fourth quarter, I would assume. That's probably when they'll show up.
Cool. Well, definitely looking forward to that, and I think that's a good segue into a big part of what you guys showed at the show, but also things that are coming along pretty quickly. So let's stick with the cartoon theme here for just a minute. And Muckman and Mondo Gecko are starting to hit now. You guys had an online sale for them. They're starting to hit Target stores, but it looks like Chrome Dome and then the second Frog set, they're up next, right?
They'll be out real soon. There's Chrome Dome. We have samples of that we've seen, the final packaging, and that's another one that's been done. I think it's probably shipped at this point.
Yeah.
The frogs, again, like we wanted to space out the frogs a little bit just because, you know, they're almost identical. So we didn't want to have like, you know, all four of them in the 2-packs at, you know, on shelves or out at the same time just to avoid confusion. So it was like, get the first set out, you know, let everyone pick those up and then give it a little time and then we'll have the second set. So just so, because they're seriously, they're just, you know, they're almost identical. They just have inverted colors on their shirts. There's like 2 with stripes, 2 with polka dots, and it's
But
like,
but it's freaking awesome to finally have that whole group together very soon. I mean, it's 30 years not being able to
I
put
know
that together.
they've always been a couple of my favorite characters. Like they're awesome. They're in, you know, tons of episodes, and it's just really cool to have, like, you know, like they're sitting on my desk right
Yeah.
here. The frogs are, I love the frogs. So yeah, pretty soon you'll be able to complete that set.
And
they'll be out soon.
and Chrome Dome, he's the biggest cartoon figure yet, right?
Yeah. So, and that was another one where, you know, we kind of scaled him up properly. He's bigger than Android Krang by at least, you know, like 1.5 inches, like, you know, 1 whole head height taller than Android Krang. He kind of can peek right over that middle shelf on the street dio. Lots of accessories, like cool interchangeable hands to put him in, like, you know, just all kinds of fight poses and stuff. That's he's big. It's a really cool figure. It's probably the biggest figure easily, I think, out of everything. The pizza monsters are big, but not as big as Chrome Dome. So
well, and he can stand perfectly behind the rest of his pals from the Night of the Rogues crew, which with another couple of sets that you guys solicited earlier in the year. I mean, we're just one member away from that happening before the end of the year, right?
That one member. Will we ever make that one?
That one super annoying member.
That one, that last holdout. Will we ever get to her? I don't know.
Well, but speaking of that group, so back I think it was in April, right? I mean, you guys you mentioned the Pizza Monster, you did this online order for the Pizza Monster, and then Ace Duck and Mutagen Man and Scumbug and Anthrax. Are those, I mean, I want to talk about those like individually for a little bit, but are those tracking to be hitting ahead of the San Diego debut stuff like Dirtbag and Groundchuck, or are they coming a little bit later than those?
That's a good question. Those, I'm guessing, are going to be after or around the same time as the San Diego set.
Okay.
Like Chrome Dome's going to be out way before then. And we just showed Wingnut and Screw Loose the other day too. There's a lot, like there's a lot of 2-packs to keep. But yeah, there's Anthrax and Scumbug. That'll probably be like 4th quarter or into next year. Same with Ace Duck and Mutagen Man. Like they're, again, those are also like, they're in production right now. We're just finalizing, like, you know, packaging artwork and stuff with the factory. All that stuff, the boxes are being printed, the figures are in production. So it'll probably be end of the year, early next year in all likelihood when they're out. I actually have some test or some deco samples if you want to check them out.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I got to say, even though his appearance was fleeting on the cartoon, Ace Duck is one of my all-time favorite Ninja Turtles characters. So
he's a cool character.
Yeah.
Here he is. Here's our version of Ace Duck.
Awesome. So he shares a little bit with Vernon, right?
He's got a little bit, the legs. You know, kind of the inner, there's like, just like the Vernon, there's like an inner torso piece, you know, like the jacket is like soft, like flexible. But yeah, it's like, basically it's like the same legs, the upper sleeve. So it's proportionally, he's kind of like Vernon.
Yeah. Which is appropriate.
Yeah. You never really see him like more than just his head and his shoulders on the cartoon for like a second. So he's like got removable wings, but he's real cool. Just like the disguise pack of the Turtles, the Ace Duck, you can swap out not only the heads, but like there's two different beak sculpts.
Oh,
So it's
wow.
like you can swap. There's a set of angry eyes and a set of like kind of happy eyes, and then so this is sort of like the angry beak,
Yeah.
and then here's like his angry head.
Oh, that's cool.
So this beak will come off, and then you can pop this on and get like a real smiling, happy beak, happy face, happy duck.
Yeah. And then the
So
fighting duck.
Yeah, and then the fighting duck. So then, you know, the head pops off the neck, and then you can just pop this. So it's as much, it is like what we were talking about with Vernon. Like if you can have some interchangeable parts just within the face, like if it doesn't mess up the sculpt like too much, then, you know, we're trying to find ways to make that work. So so with Ace Duck, it was the same deal. Like the factory has to remove the beak from the head anyways, just for production purposes. It's a separate piece. And instead of gluing it in place, we were like, you know, just put like a little mushroom peg in there so it'll pressure fit.
Yeah.
And then you can get like, you know, you can multiply the expressions. So he's, you know, happy and angry and everything in between. So
well, that's a cool little piece that I, you know, from the original solicitation, had no idea that was.
Yeah. A lot of that stuff, it's just sort of like, you know, kind of bonus features we throw in there. It's not always like added into the, you know, the copy or anything. So
yeah,
but yeah, he's a real cool figure.
And I'm seeing the back of his jacket. He's got because the old figure had
like the turtle shell logo. So we wanted to keep him more like in universe.
Yeah.
So like because he's they're watching him like in a movie. So he's like he probably wouldn't be wearing like a Ninja Turtle bomber jacket. So we just made like sort of like this. It's just like a duck bomber. He's got little feathers like people he's, you know, knocked out or whatever.
That's
There's
awesome.
like a bomb with so we just made up our own graphic for the back of his jacket to keep him kind of like a World War II, like, you know, bomber pilot or whatever. So
and the wings plug in with like ball joints in the back, kind of.
There's just like a ball hinge, so, you know, it can go out to the side, it can go back, it can rotate all around.
Awesome.
So it's got a good, the wings are, you know, it's a good amount of articulation there. So yeah, you can put him in, you know, flying poses or kind of put his wings back and get him a little more like aggressive, like he's ready to attack or something.
He's a good candidate to hang from the ceiling.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Get, you know, a couple wires and just string them up next to the turtle blimp or something. So
well, I'm definitely excited because of all of those sets. I mean, he's in some pretty crazy company, you know, with not only the figure that he's packaged with, but Anthrax and Scumbug as well. But I'd be a liar if I would have said he wasn't the one I'm looking the most forward to. But Mutagen Man's another one because he's so, I mean, he's similar kind of to like the old toy or something, but the cartoon, he's just a real weirdo and real short too.
And so this one too, like we did all of that. We try to get him as close to the cartoon, you know, as possible. So he's short. He's about maybe just a little bit taller than like the Baxter figure that we made.
Really?
But so so we're trying to get the scale as close, you know, as we can with a lot of these figures. It's tough because even just on the show, they go off model all the time, you know. But so Mutagen Man, he's a little bit shrimpier, you know, so he kind of matches that character on the show. And then this guy too, he's got an extra head. It's got like this real worried expression.
So how do you get in there then?
I'll show you. It's really cool.
Okay.
But we gave him he's got like a little hinged jaw.
Oh.
Both heads have hinged jaws, and he's got a worried face and an angry face. But this is a really cool thing. We worked pretty close with the factory to try and make, because he's in this like tank. It's like, how do you? So it's pretty simple. So what happens is the shoulder pads are hinged like up on the top of his head, So you
Okay.
lift that part up, and this is really good for photography too, because like on the tank, you know, it's clear, you'll get a lot of glare and stuff.
Yeah.
So the top of the helmet comes off, and it's just it stays attached with the little tube. So then this can come off. You can put all this back together. So if you want to take any pictures without any glare,
Yeah.
you know, it still pretty much maintains like the proper look of the character.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's a cool feature. But then once you have the tank off, the back of the head is on a ball joint. So you can turn his head, you can move the jaw up and down, like I said. But so you can just, even within the tank, you can pose his head and everything. But then,
Yeah.
so then the head just pops out of here. Let me see if I can do this. So then here's that. So he's got a little head and a spine.
and you got to swap the spine out. Yeah.
Spine comes out. Everything's on a ball joint. Don't lose the spine. So now we get this is which one? This is the worried head. It goes back into the guts, just snaps back in, closes back up, put his little hat back on, and close that down, and then you've got the head swap. So it's pretty simple. It's like it takes, you know, just like a minute or so, but everything, you know, everything kind of snaps back into place. It's designed to be pretty user friendly. And then so you can pose the head, you can open and close the mouth, you know, move it all around, and then you got like a pretty cool expressive figure that's like an insane design, like one of the craziest characters in the whole series. And then the rest of the articulation is pretty standard, like another figure. He's got double elbows, he's got a swivel in the bicep, the shoulders, you know, they're on a ball joint. Same with the hips. He's got double knees. He's got an ankle rocker. Same hip joints, like ball joint hips that we've got, and all the other figures.
So I've always thought of him as being, you know, a character who's in constant pain simply because of his state. So he can move a lot for, you know, probably being in a painful state of existence.
Oh my God. When I was watching the episode, just like pulling reference for the sculptors, you know, when he falls into that vat of chemicals, you know, he just comes apart into like 10 pieces, and his foot is floating up by his head, and he's swirling around in this vat of chemicals, like in this big soup, you know, and everything is like, oh God, it's a sad episode. You know, Bebop and Rocksteady just are shooting at him up on that catwalk. He falls, you know, it's tragic what happens to Seymour Guts.
well, and since you can take the front off, you can see more guts than ever before. But so I imagine since that's in pieces, then the tank's not watertight itself, right?
No, this one's not. Originally that was the goal, was to try and make them watertight, but then it was just like, you know, we wanted to just make them more like kind of, you know, toys for like adult collectors. We wanted it was like the posability and all the interchangeable parts kind of won out over like the, you know, just filling it with water kind of gimmick, you know.
Well, and with all the articulation and the stuff that goes into the body, I mean, every time you do that, that's another place to watch out for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the shoulder joints for sure is like, to do like proper shoulder joints, it's like a nightmare to make it all watertight and stuff. So
well,
I don't know. There's probably an app you can download to like just pretend to, you know, virtually fill stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Water. I don't know. So we didn't bother with that.
That has I mean, there have been some pretty crazy 2-packs that you guys have put out so far, but that one's like has odds on being the most insane one yet, just because of the craziness of the characters, and, you know, actually getting Ace Duck. That's really cool.
It's a good one. It's they keep getting cooler and weirder and like getting into more obscurity, so it's I'm loving it, you know. It's fun.
Well, speaking of that, another couple of characters that have been way up at the top of my list for what I would just intuitively have thought was a 2-pack that you guys debuted at the live stream is Dirtbag and Groundchuck. And I remember when those figures came out when I was a kid, and then they finally showed up on the TV show. I don't know. I was just immediately drawn to both of those characters.
Oh, cool. Yeah, they're great. I had those toys as a kid, and yeah, same deal. Like anytime the toys showed up on the show, it was like,
Yeah.
it's a special, like it was a cool thing. So yeah, those were two that I was always in the back of my mind. I was hopeful we would maybe get to them someday. It was like, if we can do Muckman, and we've done the Rock Soldiers, if we've done those guys, I think like Dirtbag and Groundchuck are like a natural, like those should be the next two.
Because they've got the video game cred and stuff too with them from back in the day as well. So
they show up in a couple games. I think I know they're in the NES one, and they might be in a Game Boy game, or I don't know. They make a few appearances, and that always helps too if like we can do like a second version or something. But those two are real cool figures, and like we showed in that video, you can separate Dirtbag, so he looks like he's growing up from underground. And
well, you've sold me two of them by doing that.
Again, it's how many different ways can we, you have to display this figure in this way, but you also have to display them this way. So like you have to buy two figures. So, the more we can do of that, the better. So but yeah, those are super cool. Paul Harding sculpted those, and he's just an amazing sculptor. I think that was the first two.
Yeah, I caught him on Twitter, and he said that was his debut set for the line, and he's been really excited about it. So
yeah, he's awesome, and he's just like, I've worked with him for a couple of years now, like starting back at DC and then coming back to NECA. I brought him over with me, and yeah, he's been doing a lot of the cartoon stuff, and he's awesome. Yeah, so
cool.
Happy to have him.
Yeah, definitely. Well, so Dirtbag and Groundchuck are probably after guys like Stuck and Mutagen Man, then, right?
No, those might be before. It's
really?
Like, yeah, it's how, I mean, like for art, like in production right now, they're only like a couple weeks apart from each other as far as like how far along they are in the process. Like we already have like final package samples of Groundchuck and Dirtbag. I think they started production just like a little bit sooner than like Stuck and Mutagen Man, but that doesn't mean that necessarily they're gonna ship first. Like when it gets that far into the process, I'm pretty removed, like I'm kind of more focused on like art directing, sculptors and painters, and the package design guys. So yeah, every factory is just like they're a couple weeks apart right now. And Wingnut and Screw Loose are in there somewhere too. Like everything's just being made kind of. I don't know when one's gonna ship, and then the next and the next. So
well, that's fair. And Wingnut and Screw Loose, that's another big one as well, I think. And I think you mentioned that was originally going to start as like an ultimate set, and then because Screw Loose, you had to blow it out into a 2-pack, right?
That's correct. And it was the same. It was kind of the same thing. Like Muckman wasn't originally going to be. I think Muckman and Mondo were going to be a 2-pack, but the skateboard, all the accessories, like they just were too expensive to put together. So we had to split those guys apart. And then, like Wingnut and Screw Loose, like who do you put those two with? And kind of, he's in between like an accessory and a figure, but on the show, he's
much bigger on the show. Yeah.
So, and it was the same deal. Like just the way those kind of costed out in production, it was like, well, let's just load up Screw Loose with articulation, make him like a proper like second figure. Again, like the show is totally different than the original toy line. Those two characters, like Screw Loose especially, is like,
he's a scumbag on the show.
And not to be confused with Scumbag.
Scumbug, right?
Scumbug, yeah. And but yeah, so Wingnut and Screw Loose, they ended up instead of being an ultimate figure, they're now a proper 2-pack. And yeah, they're real cool too. That's another set that, people love those characters. So
Yeah.
it's awesome to do them like, proper to like how they were they appeared on the show that one time.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're cool.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to both of those sets, and I mean they were the main highlight, I think, of the cartoon characters for the live stream. But then you guys you did a little tease there at the end too with maybe two other guys that might be coming along before too long in silhouette standing on top of that building. One of them maybe howling or growling or something, right?
Howling at the Moon or something. Yeah, who could those two be? I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, those guys are cool too.
Yeah.
And again, like their appearance on the show, so weird and so different from
So
what
weird.
was on the movie, but just super fun and bizarre. And yeah, they're oh god, they're not in Night of the Rogues, they're in the Dirk Savage episode.
Yeah.
And that's the Dirk Savage episode is another awesome. There's like so many characters, so many mutants in that episode. I think the frogs, a couple of the frogs,
Yeah,
make an appearance in that one. So, and then there's some really weird, like mutants you never hear from again. I don't think they have names. There's like a llama,
yeah.
some weird bird guy, and but there's like
I'd
a
buy 'em.
buffalo or something. just make all that weird stuff.
Well,
so yeah, Toka and Razar, yeah, they'll be out next year sometime.
Well, and they're crazy too, because it's like they were in the movie and then they did vintage toys of them and toyed them up a little bit. But then the cartoon appearance was kind of the tuned up version of the toy look. So it's like it's a strange growth for the character designs of those two.
Yeah, and two characters, when they show up in the movie, it's just like, why isn't this Bebop and Rocksteady? Like,
yeah,
who are these guys? And then 30 years later, again, like the collection won't be complete without them. They sort of, they aged pretty well, and then they showed up again in the 2012 show. They kind of, they made some. Razar was in it a lot, and then they made Toka like a big crazy kaiju, and
yeah,
so they're cool, and they're in the video games too. Like they're in one version of Turtles in Time, so they're cool characters. They're part of the family, so you gotta make figures, I guess.
Well, I'm looking forward to them too. And really though, when we talk about all of these 2-packs and ultimate versions that are coming to retail, but that's not all of the cartoon stuff that is still yet to come out this year, because I don't think you and I have gotten a chance to really discuss since the big unveiling is the Dark Turtle and Scrag as well coming in the Loot Crate stuff, man.
The Loot Crate stuff, yeah. Two more. There's 2 more cartoon figures in the Loot Crate line. The Loot Crate stuff.
We haven't seen the Dark Turtle yet.
I've got a test shot of him around somewhere. Where did he go? We haven't shown any pictures of him at all yet.
I don't think so. I don't think you guys have shown it.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it's just been
Scrag was shown.
Cartoons. Yeah. The Dark Turtle, I just got a sample of him the other day. He's real cool. I'll have to talk to Loot Crate about that. Maybe we'll get some as soon as we get deco samples. We'll shoot. He has a posable cape, like a wire in his cape, so
cool.
You can put him in like cool, like Midnight Avenger kind of poses and stuff. It's another one you can hang from the ceiling with next to Ace Duck and or put him on a flight stand or something. It looks that's a cool one.
That's a perfect like version to put in a Loot Crate. Because it's kind of a one-shot thing, but it's such a cool and version of Donatello.
Yeah, definitely. And like the other turtles didn't dress up with them like other superheroes, so it's a good standalone thing. And that one too, he's compatible with like the Sky Set turtles. So any of those faces, any of those mouths that come with the disguised turtles, like you can swap them out with Donatello. So you got the cowl, it'll fit on any of those faces, any of the mouths. So again, we're trying to just build everything out, make everything kind of like seamless, like working together, so
that's awesome.
Lots of cool expressions and stuff.
And you and I have chatted about Scrag, but not really kind of in depth in this type of a forum. I'll tell you that I may be more excited for him, strangely enough, this year than just about anybody else, because the rest of Bebop and Rocksteady's gang, both in human and mutant form, that's such they're blink and you miss them, but those characters are so like burned into my brain that, man, I love starting to see some representation there.
Scrag that's a character since I was a kid. He's in just like that one or two, the first 5 episodes. He's in it just real brief, but he has this lasting impact. We've talked before about how they're like the Cantina aliens, and it's just they're on the show for a split second, but they've just over 30 something years, they've taken on this whole kind of life of their own, and they're all real cool. The Bebop and Rocksteady gang are neat, because they're so mysterious. Like there's so little known about them, and they never really come back on the show.
It's like they had plans for them, and then they just never came back after that.
They never got around to it or something. So Scrag, that's another one that like I was really hoping at some point, like Scrag, I think is real important. So just like doing a Granitor figure, doing the Punk Frogs, like there's, I've got a like a short list of like, these are the characters we need to get to. Like there's only a couple of them left now, because we've been fortunate enough to like, get to this stuff kind of quickly, So Scrag is another one. He's real cool. You can only you could only get him through Loot Crate. There's a perfect figure to put with Loot Crate.
I again, because I love both his human and mutated version, I threw down for 2 crates so I can display both of them. But I mean, the fanboy toy collector in me comes to the next thing. It's like, I hope you guys can find an avenue for the rest of those guys, but then also Bebop and Rocksteady before they're mutated.
Their human forms. And doing the potato suits.
The Idaho potatoes.
Another Channel 6 like sort of mishap or whatever.
You got them on that t-shirt.
I know. That t-shirt's awesome. My friend Tony did that one, and that too, it was just like, here's everything that happens, everything that's notable that happens at Channel 6. Like, let's try and get all of it onto the shirt. If we can't make like the potatoes, or
heard it through the potato vine.
It was just like, we don't have figures of those, so like, let's at least get them on like the shirt or some piece of merchandise or something, just so they're out there somehow. So they're the human versions, again, as long as the show, or not the show, but the toy line, as long as the toys keep selling, as long as people want this stuff, or just as long as the interest is there, the demand is there, I don't know, hopefully we're gonna just keep just doing weird, crazy stuff. So
well, I hope it does continue to be very successful. And the last thing, because I'm sure this was probably just you talking when you were closing out the live stream, but don't think that it went unnoticed that you mentioned something about maybe like even a 3-pack coming next year, because I think you probably know where my brain went right to. I'm not going to press on that.
I was talking directly at you. I was talking right to you when I said, oh, maybe there's a 3-pack in the future. So
well,
gives
a lot to look forward to as we move into 2022 then, because I mean, I'm going to just assume that 2022 is building up to be just as crazy as this year.
If not more so. It's more crazy stuff that, when we started doing this, I never thought we'd be, doing that 3-pack, whatever it could be. Like, there's no way, like, even like, Toka and Raza cartoon figures, like, we're doing so much, all the stuff. It's like, it just like the Channel 6 set, like, they're kind of just, if you're looking at them just as toys, they're kind of just boring, like regular humans. They're not exciting toys, but like they're so essential for like a ninja collection. Like it's not complete without the Channel 6 set, and it's not complete without, you know, there's definitely like diehard Neutrino fans out there. So, you know, it's like we should probably get to them at some point. Like we can't just keep remaking Turtles like over and over again. We could, but it's fun to be able to do these other characters, you know. So
Yeah,
for sure. We got to do some neutrinos, and you know.
yeah.
Because who are the rock
some
soldiers
people
going to chase? Like if there's no, you know, you've got Trag and Granitor. They need to,
yeah.
you know, all these toys, like they complement each other. You know, you can have Shredder with the Punk Frogs. They're a little set. You know,
You need Shredder in his cool 80s, you know, suit then too.
yeah, like Florida Vacation Shredder. He takes the little ray gun and he just changes his armor into like this hologram
Miami Vice suit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe we'll do that at some point. I don't know. So my screensaver.
Well,
but,
yeah, because some crazy people might have even like already customized cars for certain characters. So that's encouraging to hear. It's encouraging to hear.
Reboot was one of them, and then there was Cadillacs and dinosaurs. I don't know if we should be giving all the secrets out, but
no, that
there's
Cadillacs
more
and
than just the foot cruiser out there, you know. So
yeah. All right. Well, cartoon is definitely kicking along, but you know, you guys cover a lot of other ground with your turtle stuff, and another big thing obviously is the movie figures that you guys are working on. And as of right now, if I'm not mistaken, I ordered the deluxe version, but the regular version of one April O'Neil is starting to ship now.
Yep, that's another one. Like production's all done. I've seen some people getting their ship notifications. I think those are coming out real soon. So she's all done.
And the timing is perfect, because not only do you associate them together because of the movie, but also, you know, because I think the characters or the people behind the characters kind of have a little bit of association within, you know, this toy line itself, because the new Casey Jones is shipping right now too. I'm on the hunt for him right now, because it's so awesome and a relief to get that likeness now.
Yeah, and that was like, we wouldn't have been able to do that without Judith Hogue. You know, like Judith, like working with her, that was another thing too, where like, you know, we made all these movie Turtles, we made the Foot Clan, we made Splinter, and all of that was great, but it was sort of like, you know, we needed like Judith to come on board and just, it was like a shot in the arm of like, all of a sudden now we're really getting into some like new ground, you know. So after, and she was like such a delight. She's so cool to work with. She was just awesome. So like after we were working with her, like she started like conversations like going with Elias. So we were able to like do a proper like, because Casey Jones, he wears the mask for like 2 scenes. Like there's you know, most of the movies, like he's like a person, you know, he's like just a, you know. So yeah, it's great to be able to do Casey like properly without the mask and everything. Judith was like such a big help, like getting that figured out. And then, you know, and then Danny was like doing another Loot Crate figure. Like the Danny thing kind of came together like real fast. And then it was all of a sudden like we've got like this whole new wave of human characters from the movie.
1, 2, 3 right in a row.
So so that was cool. Again, it's like just branching out from just making turtle figures like over and over again. That's been the coolest thing really, with like just how much the line has grown, you know. And then Randy was able to get like the Sex Pistols to sign off on doing like Danny's t-shirt. So like even that stuff, it's like that almost never happens, you know. If like, you know, there's like that Scott Evil toy that had the Kurt Cobain face, and then they had to blur it out. You know, so it's great to be able to just do the stuff like kind of as accurate as possible. You know, you don't have to just like make a smudgy, like kind of tie-dyed,
You got
like fake shirt or whatever. So
you guys have got Turtle Wax and the Sex Pistols represented
yeah,
now, for real.
that's another one. Like Randy can get these deals made. It's amazing. Like, yeah, reaching out to Turtle Wax and telling him like we want to make this little jar because it's like a gag in the movie,
Yeah.
you know, and kind of a throwaway line. And again, 30 years later, like we're making figures with bottles of Turtle Wax. Like who would have ever thought, you know,
Well,
that was going to happen? So
I mean, that's crazy, but are you ever surprised by some of the popularity? Because like to me, the Danny figure has been so well received, and a lot of people are really excited about it. And I mean, I'm a mark for that kind of thing. So,
sure.
you know, me wanting it's not a big deal, but a lot of people seem to be really excited about characters like this.
It's been like that the entire time. Like when we first, like I thought I was the only one that liked the first movie, you know, like because there was
still one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, it's mine too. Like it's one of my all-time favorite movies. Going to see it in the theater, it was the closest thing I had to like a Star Wars.
Yeah,
like a kid in 1977, you know. So like that movie is so great. And then there's no real toys for it. They never made like cool Shredder from that movie. Nothing existed. So that movie just seemed like this forgotten thing, you know.
Yeah.
And when we first showed like the quarter scale figures, you know, first we had Donatello at Toy Fair, and then we showed all four of them at like Comic-Con. It really was like the reception was like way bigger than even I had expected, you know, and so every time we're showing off a new figure and there's all this excitement around it, it is shocking, you know. It's especially shocking if it's, you know, we're teasing the neutrinos or something, but it's like it's seriously, it's just every time we're showing a new figure off, it's just like, you know, people like get really excited. So that's, I don't know, it's super cool.
I mean, it's Chief Stearns or bust at this point with that popularity, man.
Yeah, we're not far away from like getting that Chief Stearns, another figure I always wanted. You know, yeah, Chief Stearns, that would be so cool. Oh boy.
If any character from that movie needs a voice chip, it's him.
Definitely. O'Neill, get in here. Yeah, he is so awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, the first movie is definitely, you know, it stands alone in its class as far as I'm concerned. But you guys are giving a lot of love now to the Secret of the Ooze as well. Yeah. And, you know, it started with Toka and Razar and the original Super Shredder, but now you guys have a third version of Super Shredder coming, as well as kind of the standard version of Shredder from Secret of the Ooze as well.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot. Every version of Shredder that ever existed, we will make it. So yeah, there's the European homage Shredders. That's another, that it's cool on its own. Like that Shadow Master one is great.
Yeah.
The first version of Super Shredder we did, that was real cool. But like each one is just,
this new one has a rad cape, man.
All those capes are nuts. Like the homage version's got that iridescent like colors and stuff on it. It's real cool.
Yeah.
He's got that spiked like wrestling belt. Yeah, it's a kick-ass looking figure on its own. And then doing like Secret of the Ooze, like a proper Shredder with like the purple outfit, the wider shoulders, doing the dandelion, like
so how'd you land on the dandelion? Because that's awesome.
That's, you know, if you're gonna, there's certain things like if you're gonna do this figure, like it just, you every now and then, you know, like it has to have this for an accessory. You know, every now and then, like you can't put out Secret of the Ooze Shredder without that big giant ridiculous dandelion. So
it's like if because I heard a lot of people saying, you know, that it's like, but if you think that the dandelion is the most ridiculous part about that movie, then you're not really like watching the movie, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But the bad guys are definitely well represented for Secret of the Ooze. But you know, they're still we haven't gotten any, you know, turtle versions or a certain plucky pizza delivery boy too, man. I mean, it seems like even with Secret of the Ooze, I may not be a part of that diehard fan base like I am in the first movie, but there are lots of people that's like their turtle movie too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. Like I prefer the first movie to the second one, but the second one is still it's a fun movie to watch.
And designs are some of the design. I mean, Toka and Razar, the designs, you can't fool with those. Those are amazing.
they're awesome. So yeah, I am aware that you know there's a fan base for Secret of the Ooze. So we'll probably have to, you know, get some stuff out there for them too. You know, the turtles, like the heads are a little bit different. You know, there's
cartooned up a little bit.
Yeah. So yeah, at some point we'll probably have to do that. You know.
Well, and it's fair because, you know, you talk about that, but to me the likenesses, especially I think Donatello and Leonardo are the most. It's like the movie 1 Donatello and movie 2 Donatello are nowhere any more similar than like movie Donatello and cartoon Donatello. They're completely different looking. From one to the next.
Yeah. Yeah, so that means we should probably like sculpt some new figures, you know.
Yeah.
Make them as accurate as possible.
So. Well, then, you know, with movie 2, you know, well underway. I mean, do you ever consider delving into the, I don't know, the horrors of the third movie that still could have some cool, you know, samurai designs and things like that?
Yeah. Those samurai suits, like that's, you know, it's like kind of with Toka and Razar. You're like, who are these characters? I never met these guys before. They're awesome action figures. Like they look really cool as like toys, and
there's a lot to work with.
Figures. So
there.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, like that one, like we have not touched it at all. But that doesn't mean like it's not somewhere in the back of my brain, like, you know, back burner stuff. Like you know, they would definitely be cool toys. We have not done anything, you know, there's no plans at the moment,
but the movie stuff is going to continue to be at Walmart, right?
Yeah, as far as I know. Yeah. It's still at Walmart, and yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
The KC set's hitting now, but also, you know, the last thing that I wanted to, because I kind of forgot about it, but you've got a deep cut coming from the first movie as well with the Shadow Warrior set. That's a really neat concept of a, you know, deep cut, you know, just 30-second scene, but it's so integral to the whole history of the Turtles. It's really cool.
Yeah, thanks. That's what I was thinking when we were kind of coming up with the idea was, you know, is Hamato Yoshi and Oroku Saki, like those are, you know, they're so important to just the overall like mythology, or the, you know, they're such core characters. They don't really have a lot of action figures, you know, there's very few, you know, and again, like those are cool looking ninjas. Like when you get down to it, like those would make cool looking figures. Like build out like your Foot Clan, you know, do some flashback scenes or just play with them however you want. Like they're just cool looking, like, you know, action figures. So yeah, that was one of those, like, you know, the light bulb sort of just goes off. It's like, oh yeah, Shadow Warriors, like those would be kick-ass figures. We should do those. So we did.
Well,
those should be hitting very soon. Just like with April Casey, they should be out. Yeah, any day now.
Yeah, the movie 1 display is going to fill up fast here over the next couple of months. Sure. So that's exciting. Okay. Well, lots more movie stuff to come. But all right, the cartoon stuff, is my jam, and I love the movie stuff. But I gotta be honest with you, man. Of all the things that you guys showed or kind of showed or teased that I think got me to audibly say, holy shit, was you guys kind of did a tease of a certain intergalactic robot from
Oh, that was the one that.
Yeah, from
Really?
just because it feels like there's maybe a turn back into the comics. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we've said that a few times. We're definitely getting back into like comic book figures. So yeah, and just like kind of what we've been talking about all night is like making a Fugitoid figure. It seems like another essential character. Like he's not around a lot. He's in a couple issues, but he's been on, he's on the 2012 show, and
he's got a longer history than the Turtles themselves,
Yeah, that is true. So he's one of those characters. It just seems like the collection is incomplete without him. So that was another one kind of on my short list. I wanted to be like, oh, we gotta do a Fugitoid at some point. So we're doing it.
Well, and he's gonna join that mutant shredder that's coming in
that claw mutant.
The crab shredder, or whatever you want to call him. But are you guys staying kind of pointed to continuing with like the Mirage for the comics, or are you guys looking to go outside of those bounds, or do you have a real plan in place for everything yet?
Yeah, we've definitely, there's a plan in place. There's definitely a few more. There's a handful of Mirage stuff that we want to get to, and then expanding out from there. I know for longest time, people want to, when are you doing like Archie comics, like Turtle Adventures and
Mutanimals?
Mutanimals, right? So there's again, there's only so much stuff we can get into 1 year. Turtles has been around for like 30 something,
There's a lot
to do, and there's only so many slots we've got available. So it's and just trying to find a good balance of all that stuff. I want to do Archie figures too. The Mutanimals are awesome, and it's just there's so many cool versions of those characters, or those versions of those characters that they make great action figures, cool toys. Some characters have never had a toy, so it's if we can get to the Archie stuff someday, that'd be cool. Right now we've got a handful of Mirage figures planned. I think people are going to be really excited about. But I just for me, I just I do want to I just want to make all these figures in all their forms, like like IDW stuff. I know people want. There's like IDW fans too that we hear you. I know we got. They're like the IDW comics are awesome. So that's something also I'd love to get into that stuff. Just speaking as a fan. Because it's all cool, and it's all there's the 4Kids show in the early in 2003. I know there's the fans too, so
that was a great show.
It was cool, and that was there's so much of that stuff was based kind of so closely in the original Mirage comics, and they went in a totally different direction than the 80s 90s cartoon. So it's there's just so much to do, man. Turtles just doesn't stop, it doesn't slow down.
Well, and even speaking of the 4 Turtles themselves, I mean, we've had the Foot Clan set, and then last year's Shredder Loot Crate figure, but the Turtles themselves, as far as comic goes, they've kind of been out of circulation for a while, and have maintained tremendous popularity, because some of those that black and white set goes for bananas money.
There's still some of the best figures. Those original Turtles, those were made long before I worked here. That was one of the things that really drew me to NECA, was when you know, they had announced those Eastman and Laird turtles. I was like, oh my God, like no one's ever done that before. Like, how cool is this?
And I always kind of consider them to be layered turtles, you know, like more
Yeah.
layered. And it's like, man, I got to get me some Eastman turtles.
That would be cool too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, that you reminded me of something though. It's like going to the we you know, we just did a teaser for Fugitoid, but a lot of his accessories are all compatible with those original turtles. Like there's
Really?
yeah, I know he's kind of a pacifist, but like we loaded him up with like an arm, like the intergalactic armory. So like those Triceraton blasters, all their outer space adventures. There's like that big bazooka, like on the one cover. Oh God, I can't remember what issue it is. The Donatello one shot where he meets like Kirby and he draws that gauntlet. Like Fugitoid comes with the gauntlet that is compatible with like, and that's something I've wanted to make for a long time. I mean, we never had a place to put it, you know. It's like,
yeah, but I mean, just the fact that you're thinking about compatibility with figures that are what 10
because
years
they're cool
old?
figures. Like,
yeah,
I know people still love, you know, people still love them. Like, so we're trying not to make those obsolete, you know.
Yeah.
So that's a really cool thing. I've got a test shot of it over there, but it's kind of buried behind some stuff because I was trying to. Josh Sutton did the sculpting on some of that stuff, so I sent him one of the original, you know, the ones that the Horsemen made, one of the original Eastman and Laird turtles we did, and I was like, you got to make sure, like, I know it's a Fugitoid accessory, but you got to make sure it'll, you know, the hands pop off.
Yeah.
You know, just make sure it'll fit on there, and it does. So
awesome. That's amazing.
So, you know, that's like the stuff that's like the most fun is like just finding like just you want to just make these cool little, it's stuff I'd be customizing on my own if I was just a fan. It's just, you know, these are the accessories I'd want, or I'd repaint a figure like this. And so getting to actually like make this stuff, like put it in with, you know, with the toy line and, you know, get it out to everybody it's always very fun and rewarding, you know, to do that stuff. There's that set of handcuffs that when the turtles are like captured by the Triceratons, it's like that weird trapezoid shape.
Yeah.
That'll fit on either Fugitoid's hands or like on the turtles, so you can have them all like, you know, arrested, captured, whatever.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, so that it's just fun working on, you know, all that cool stuff.
So you mentioned that I think the last time when we were saying that, you know, that was when you were just saying, hey, we're going to be getting back into the comic figures. Now, are those going to be more specialty store, comic store?
Oh yeah. Yep, the Mirage stuff kind of pay tribute to, you know, the mom and pop comic book stores and online retailers. Like, yeah, those figures are those are going to be available everywhere, you know. So you can buy them online. You can go into your local comic book store and ask them, like, are you guys getting these? Are you getting Fugitoid, whatever? So yeah, those will be available at all the specialty retailers. So
I can't wait, because like I said, I'm the cartoon and the movies, you know, I absolutely love them, but just the grittiness and it's just, I guess, I mean, you're talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles here, but the strangeness of the comics, that's just something I absolutely adore about them.
Yeah, it's kind of all over the place, you know. So yeah, there's cool places you can go there that like it didn't, you know, they didn't do on the cartoon or whatever. It didn't have a chance to do in the movies. So yeah, hopefully there's a little bit of something for, you know, we don't expect everyone to collect everything, but
yeah,
at least me, the way I approach this, I know you do, but like, you know, honestly, that's the way I approach this, is like, I know everyone is not a completist and like some stuff's really hard to find, but it's like trying to make some cool shit like here and there. You know, you don't have to have the entire comic book set, but like just having that one Fugitoid figure is kick ass, and it still kind of fits in with the cartoon line if you're just collecting that, you know. So even he's not even really that out of place if you put him with the movie figures, because he's kind of this weird interdimensional robot, you know. So it's, you know, they can all work together, kind of, you know, look good on the shelf together. So
well, I mean, he to me, he is one of those perfect, like, teaser, let's bring it back in figures. But I can't wait to see where you guys go, like I said, not only with the Mirage stuff, but man, just even talking about the Mutanimals makes my head spin. So all of that stuff is just so exciting.
Maybe one day, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, even worst case scenario is the cartoon line is getting to be so robust, you can kind of almost make your own Mutanimals just from all the turtle, like we have Leatherhead, we've got Wingnut, Screw Loose, there's, oh god, I don't know if we're gonna make that Ray Fillet or not. You know, like you can kind of, you know, and then like the Mutanimals had their own version on like the 2012 show, like there was Muckman and like Pigeon Pete were in that version, and it's, you know, you can kind of build your own Mutanimals team just with, you know, the stuff that we're already doing. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it would be, I know the Archie stuff, like everyone, you know, that's got a very loyal and patient fan base.
Well, and it just, it just speaks to the fact that, I mean, there's so much stuff that can be done. So it's gonna, it's like, I just, if it's gonna run for a while, man, you're gonna be busy for a bit.
Busy for a while. Yeah. I mean, there's like 80 something issues, or that it almost went to 100 issues, I think, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot to work with there. So, you know, I don't know. It's something that I'd love to get to at some point.
Yeah.
Who knows? As long as the turtles stay popular, people still want the figures. You know, anything. The one thing I've learned at NECA is like anything is possible. Like there for years, Randy was like, we're never making Ed 209. It's too big. You know, it's just not going to happen. And then like a couple of years later, like we had Ed 209. So like,
well, I mean, even
that's happened a bunch of times.
Even putting together the Nostromo crew. I mean, that is huge for me, but I never thought that was going to happen.
That's another one. It never, you know, when Randy hired me, I remember going in for my interview, and in the back corner of the room, just like, you know, kind of buried behind other prototypes and other paint masters, there was that Foot Clan set that they had shown, and it never happened, you know. It was just like in the corner collecting dust. And I went over and I looked at it, and I asked Randy, I was like, is there any chance, this was in like 2010, I was like, those figures are so cool. I was like, is there any chance like they're actually going to get released? And Randy's like, it's not very likely, you know. And then, you know, a couple of years later, we were able to do it. Like Turtles has had this kind of, you know, revival. And so I don't know. Nothing's impossible, I think.
Well, that's I gotta calm my brain down here for a minute with all of that stuff. But one thing I think that I would be remiss if I didn't touch on, simply because there are a couple of things that are coming with the Bebop and Rocksteady Pirate set, and then Armagon in the Loot Crate series as well. But you guys didn't really have anything to show specifically about video game figures at the live stream. So is that something that is going to continue right now? Is it going to take a pause?
Oh yeah, we're going to hit pause on the video game figures. Now there's still a couple more that are coming out, but we're kind of, again, it's just like finding just balance in the year of like not overwhelming everyone, just cranking the stuff out. But yeah, like the plan was kind of to phase out some of the video game stuff and then reintroduce Mirage. So there's still a couple more video game things that are coming out, but then that's going to kind of take a back seat, so we can focus more on like comic book figures, you know. So yeah, there's still a couple more that are real cool. Again, like just, I was kind of like, oh, what if we could do this guy or that guy, or like do this character? So there's still a couple more. but yeah, we've kind of shifted our focus back into doing some comic book stuff. So
Well,
yeah.
well, that makes sense because it can always kind of cycle in and out then, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's that Armagon is one of those guys that I was like, that's not gonna happen. But just because of the focus on like Turtles in Time and whatnot. So
Sure.
man, I can't wait to get him. And since I have 2 coming, I'm probably gonna try my meager customizing skills to do the comic version of him too with the paint.
Yeah,
and
that
stuff
shouldn't
like
be too hard to do. It's like
he's almost there.
Yeah, it's almost there. It's yeah, just pretty flat colors and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
That's yeah, that's doable. So I
Well,
have faith in you.
well, somebody needs to when it comes to painting. That's for sure. But man, I'll tell you, I know you guys have been very measured about the reveals and stuff that you're doing because it's not about just doing things at 2 shows a year now. The way that we live in the world, it gives I think more opportunity to show some stuff later on. So I mean. There's so much coming, but I know you guys have got more that you're going to be set to reveal. So I just hope we can.
Yeah, the year's not over yet.
Yeah,
so,
it's like we're gonna have to talk again after.
yeah. I mean that's cool. It's always fun to talk to you. So it's like doing kind of recaps like every, a couple times a year or whatever. I guess the last one I did, it was right at the end of last year's before Toy Fair, I think.
Yeah.
But it's there, like I said, like there's Turtles has just kind of exploded into this, it's its own thing. It's just Randy just kind of gave me this to manage just because he's so busy with everything else that's going on. There's all the Gremlins, there's Gargoyles now, there's so much stuff. Oh, awesome. You got one?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I know this is veering, but I still he hasn't got on the shelf yet simply because I haven't really been able to put him down long enough to do so, but I still can't believe how big this guy is.
He's and that box is like it's a pretty sizable box, but yeah, that's an amazing figure. That's a really cool toy line. So they just beyond the turtle stuff, there's just NECA, making the Thing. That's another license that like people have asked for years, and it was like, I don't know if we'll ever get to do this, and I love that movie. It's the John Carpenter stuff is just so kick-ass, and
well, and he and Kurt Russell teamed up a few times, so it's like ooh
yeah there's definitely more cool stuff we could do. I'm not teasing anything. I'm not spoiling any. Like, I'm just buried in turtle stuff. I have no clue what's going on in the, day to day in the Jersey office, really. But I just, as a fan, like, it's exciting that we're doing like American Werewolf in London, and we're doing MacReady, and all of that. Like you said, the Nostromo crew, to finally get like all those characters. It's
Randy,
cool. It's fun to make that, like, just beyond just doing the monsters and.
Yeah, Randy's probably already sick of me like saying, all right, we got the crew, but we need them all in their jumpsuits.
Gotta do both versions, yeah. So I don't know. That's like the blessing and the curse is like, he works real hard. And, oh, okay, we finally have this kick-ass figure. Here's this great thing we made.
But
then there's next? Like 5 other versions of that character because they have costume changes, or there's like, it's always like, what's next, so it's, I don't know, it's a good thing, but it's also just like, you want to just like, here's Mutagen, let's just enjoy Mutagen.
Yeah, exactly.
And
that's what's fun, because I do enjoy what's on the shelf, and it's like,
oh god, yeah, that display is insane.
You put something on the shelf though, and at the same time I'm looking at it every time I add a new figure to that display, and I'm like, I dedicated a pretty good chunk of real estate to the turtle display, but
so
I'm probably gonna have to go bigger before too long.
Before you know it, you're gonna have like half of New York City just on your shelf right there. So we need to you know, we need to populate it with more and more
Yeah.
characters. So we get that Chief Stearns out, you know, before the end of
For his
2023.
decentralized networking scheme.
Yeah, right.
Well, Trevor, man, it's always so fun talking about this stuff. I really enjoy it, and I'm very appreciative that you take time out of, you know, I mean, you take time out of your free time from, you know, working on the stuff to turn around and talk
Working from home,
about
there
it.
is no free time. Let me tell you.
Well, it's very much appreciated. Again, thanks for coming back on with us. And yeah,
sure.
I know you guys are going to be set to do some more reveals later on this year, so we'll have to circle back up when the time is right and talk some more. All right?
Yeah, definitely, man. Anytime you want to talk turtles, I'm always here. It's like pretty much all I do all day, every day, and all my friends are like sick of it. Like non-toy people are just, God, that's all he talks about is turtles. So it's like just refreshing to, like, you know, like-minded people. We can just sit around and talk about nonsense. So
I think about when I sit back and think about how often I think about turtles throughout the day. Yeah, I'm with you. It gets a little scary sometimes.
I'll wake up in the middle of the night and just, oh, this would make like a good, you know, here's a Loot Crate exclusive, or like, oh, I got to remember to like email the factory and like we got to put in this. Here's an accessory that we can probably sneak in. You know, it's like, you know, that like separating like Dirtbag into that's how that stuff happens, because it's just it's all I think about all day long. So, you know, we'll be driving down the street, going to the grocery store, and oh, I gotta, you know, pull over, type in a note on my phone to,
you mentioned Dirtbag. You mentioned Dirtbag because you showed him off, and I was like, the first thing I thought, I was like, shit, I gotta find a mine cart for him somewhere to put him in, because I think it's in the NES game. He comes rolling in on it or something at first. It's like, oh, I've got to get one of those to put him in.
Yeah, actually, that gives me see, now you're giving me ideas for more video game figures. So that would be pretty good. So but yeah, it doesn't stop. Like there's so many versions of the turtles. They've done so much that it's like, you know, there's no shortage of, you know, action figures that can be made and whatever. They're just, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
It definitely keeps us busy. So
well, it's encouraging to hear, you know, even if it drives everybody else crazy, it's encouraging to hear that your brain's always clicking on it, because that just means more stuff for us. So
yeah,
I'm excited.
It's honestly, it's all like it's it takes up most of the day, most of all my brain power. Like, yeah, that's it. It's just turtles nonstop. I wish I could think about other things. I wish I could enjoy others. I kind of do. Like, I've got my Calico Critter collection, and
yeah.
There's other like little weird things, but it's like, you know, my girlfriend and I will be sitting there watching a movie or something, and I'm just thinking of, oh, like, you know, after we do this Mirage figure, we should do this, or like, you know, I don't think this guy had an action figure. You know, that's how Shadow Warriors comes into play. You know, it's just I should be just eating dinner, like enjoying, like, you know, those little precious moments, but I'm not. I'm just I'm not there. I'm always just in my head, like I'm in the sewers, you know. Just
it all comes back. It all comes back to turtles.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So
all right, man. Well, thank you very much, and we will catch you soon. But thanks to everybody for joining us for this second edition of Talking Turtles with Trevor. We'll be back for some more. So until then, we will catch you on the Fwoosh. Thanks, Trevor.
Okay. Thanks, Nick.